Maya froze up on me. Alright, let's try this again. I'm gonna reboot real quick. Okay. There we go. Okay, it's back working. Alright, cool. Alright, so chapter 7 here, assigning materials and textures, really fundamental when you want to add color to anything and everything, and also texture, which is not just a picture, but it also can be texture like scales on a lizard or feathers on a bird. And we can even take this a bit further and learn how to draw on top of your models using Photoshop. If you have Photoshop or any sort of photo editing software. Alright, so first page here. I'm not going to read out loud. It's pretty mind-numbing. I'm just going to go over the keywords here. So shaders. So shaders in Maya. That's what what Maya calls materials, whatnot. So shaders are these networks that we build in order to connect the appearance or the surface of a polygon or NURB, in order to connect that to the files and functions that we have in Maya. That's either already established or that we plug in. All that is called a shader. And actually there's fields in animation and TV and advertising where all a person does is build shaders. And shaders is not just in Maya, but also in, say, Unreal Engine, video game engine. They're also in Modo. They have programs that are dedicated on developing shaders like Substance Painter, that sort of thing. So pretty cool, really big field. So the way we build or connect, create, and delete shaders will be in our hypershade. And the fastest way we get to our hypershade is up here at the very top here. We see the movie clappers, and then we have this like teal sphere thing with a highlight. I think that's what it is. Click on that, it brings up our hypershader. Alright, and this is our hypershader right here. Alright, now usually this is like a whole process, a whole sub-process in the process of building any 3D animation or 3D model. So usually what you want to do is have this docked right inside here where you can see your model, and then you can also see your shaders and the hypershader right here. Alright, I'm just leave mine floating. So I'm usually in and out of multiple menus all the time. Alright, so the next keyword here, create bar, very important. And create bar is where we make our new materials. See, so I already got the shirt material here from last time. Does anybody remember the kind of material, the type of material we used for the shirt last time?
I do not.
All right, okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's really important. This is going to be on the quiz. So there's 3 types of materials that we want to focus on, right? In the create bar right here, there's hundreds of different materials to get into, but we're only going to focus on 3. So the first one, the main one, is the Lambert material. It's really basic. Everything starts off in a Lambert 1 material. This is the default. It's applied to everything that we create in here. So create a sphere. Sphere has Lambert 1 on there, and you can tell by going over here. Once I click on the Lambert 1, and I can change the color. It changes the color of all the materials in here. Alright, but it's because it's the default one, we never make any changes to Lambert 1. Lambert 1 is always, I'll get back to my default color, is always going to be a standard gray, and it's always going to be called Lambert 1. So we don't mess with that at all. And also, particle cloud is something that should just it should be left alone in there at all times. And shader glow as well. We don't make any changes to these 3 things. So if we need a Lambert, if we need a new Lambert, we come down here to our create bar, we type in Lambert, click one of these guys, and then we get Lambert 2, 3, etc. Alright. So we're just going to follow the book from now. Before we get to the next page, the other 2 materials that we want to mess with, blend. So BLINN, blend. So the reason why we use this over Lambert is that this has shininess to it. This has more of a highlight on it. Right? Lambert is just diffuse, which is the color, and shading. So blend has both diffuse, shading, and the highlight that we can adjust over here in our attributes. Right? So I can click and drag this to the head here. Kind of looks the same, probably because we don't really have any major lights. There we go. Okay, so hit 3 to smooth it out, and I can see that highlight. So I know the blend is on there. Okay, and then the third material that we're going to be messing with is the Fong. Fongy, if you want to get, detailed or, go the extra mile, but Fong really is all we need. And this gives us more control over that highlight. It's this is the material used for like glass and metal, and to get those really sharp highlights. And the main difference between blend and a Fong is just the way the highlight is being processed, right, or being calculated behind the scenes. So you can get brighter, sharper highlights with the Fong, and then the blend is just faster. Right? It doesn't eat up as much we call it computer power, I guess, processing power behind the scenes. And Lambert is the fastest, since it only has diffuse and shading in there. Okay. Alright, and all those are found in the create bar. Alright, so I'm going to flip the page here. Alright, and then, okay, you mentioned bump maps. Bump maps, also pretty important. So, Well, any kind of map is pretty important. So I'm gonna hit 1, go back to my regular square here. So let's say, let's get rid of these two. Excuse me, these two. Just gonna use the blend here. Going to middle mouse, click and drag to the head. So it applies blend 1 to the head here. I'm just going to call it test map MAT for material. Alright, and then what I can do is with a bump map, we'll start at the top here. So color map, it's the thing we did with the owl shirt here. We went over to the side, hit our checker block here, and that allows us to plug in a node into our color attribute for this material that we're creating here. Alright, before I went to file and pick the picture, but also there's a number of other things we can also plug in. So ramp, for instance, is very useful. So ramp will basically just add a gradient, right? And depending on the UVs, the way the UVs are lined up for the cube, and the gradient will either go top to bottom, which is usually the V coordinates of UV, or left to right, which is the U of UV. And also we can switch this right in here where it says V ramp, or we can do U ramp. Alright. That looks better than the V ramp. Makes more sense. Alright, then you can adjust this here. And this is plugged right into the color of our blend material. Alright, okay, so if I could go back right here in this main section here, what is this book called? It hasn't gotten to that spot yet. Okay, so this is our node editing area. So everything that we create pops up here. If you ever lose it for whatever reason, say you have a blank space, if you know it was there before, it's just a matter of moving it around. You can hit F and that'll line up the node whatever you're looking at. Same thing works in here as well. So off to the side, hit F, we'll focus on that selected item there. Also, we can do is, if you get a whole bunch of stuff up here, you don't need everything, just need the things of a particular sheeting network. Go up here, right click and hold, and drag down to graph network. I'll graph out that whole network for you. Alright, so if we get lost in the ramp, we want to go back. Then we can tap, we got ramp here, and we can tap this node here. This will come back to our major attributes. You can see here we got a ramp plugged into the color, or we can tell there's something plugged into the color here. We have our transparency, right? So if we check a box and say plug in checkers for the transparency. And the way it works here is pretty much like an alpha mask in like After Effects or Photoshop or anything of that nature. So everything white is 100% transparent, and everything black it ignores. So it's completely opaque. Alright, so since I have a checker box on there, all the white squares, it's coming up transparent. As you can see, we're still getting a bit of a reflection because it's a blend, right? But the transparency is perfectly see-through there. And then all the black cubes, black squares, excuse me, on the checker map, is left alone. You can still see the ramp coming through too on those opaque parts. So that's a map controlling the transparency there. Ambient color won't mess with too much. Ambient color basically is adding color that does not respond to the surrounding lights. But that's basically it. Incandescence is a glowing effect. It can be a little confusing. Bump mapping. So this is pretty cool. This is where you can add more detail without having to sculpt the detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this transparency map by right-clicking on the word transparency. Come down to break connections. Now I'll remove that connection. You can see in your graph network right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete that checker map node. Keep things pretty clean here. I can see his head returns to just the ramp effect on the color. Alright, I'm going to come down here to bump mapping. Plug in another checker node. And then let's see what we have here. The default settings. Okay. That's pretty cool. So with bump mapping, it again is reading the whites and the black spaces, right? So everything white is going to be raised up. It's not raised up technically. It's going to be what's the word? I got a better one than the checker map. Let's try something else here. So the checkers for bump map. Let's go some sort of noise. Brownian will work. There we go. Okay, it's a little better. Yeah, so so this is our Brownian noise that we just plugged in into the bump map for our blend material that's on the head here. And it's a certain kind of noise. And what it does for bump maps is that all the white areas are going to be it's going to be rendered as if it's raised up, but it's not actually raised. So it's more for finer detail. It's not making any adjustments to the silhouette, but it is trying to add bumps onto the square here in accordance with the Brownian noise map. Right? So it probably looks a little better rendered. Let's see if we get a good angle. I'll go ahead and take off this ramp so we can see more of it. So color, break connection. Alright, I'm going to render this with default lights. So I'm going to come up here, hit the movie clapper that's empty. Wait for a second. On renderer, so I need lights. So I'm switch over to my software, empty movie clapper. Here we go. Alright. So you can see it's not changing the silhouette at all, but it is trying to add in like 3D effects here that's in accordance with the Brownian noise map that we plugged in here. That's what bump map does. Now if we are trying to change the silhouette, that would be a displacement map. It's a little more complicated and requires a little more troubleshooting, so it's a little more advanced. But as far as like smaller details, bump maps get the job done. Let's see, so if I can make this more dense, going back to my hyper shader, network here, Alright, go to the placement node for my Brownian texture. And I can, let's see, bring down the scale quite a bit. Let's see what I get. It's like larger. So it's the other way around. No, that was it. Okay. Let's see. Alright, it's got some weird distortion in here. It's probably from the UV mapping. But once it's a little more finer, it doesn't look like a texture. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. So I'm gonna click on the cube and come up here to UV editor. That's pretty solid. Yeah, it looks a little odd. So it's going to require some tinkering around with it. Look at this brownie on the work. Usually the files in Maya, the files are provided by Maya, like the different types of noises, the checker pieces, that sort of thing. They're tileable, right? So which means you can stack them right next to each other, and there's no seams, right? You can see where one starts and the other one ends. There's a way to make anything tileable in Photoshop, and we may address that a little bit if we can master this part soon enough. But I'm not sure what that is in there. But anyhow, that is bump map, so it adds details to the surface there based on normals. Okay, so 7.1 apply materials. All right, any questions so far?
None.
No questions? Awesome. Lily, any questions?
Sorry, it was loading. Yes. I mean, no. I'm good. Sorry.
Good. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. So back to the hypershader. I'm going to delete this guy. Make sure we don't get too convoluted here. All right, so on page 240, lesson 7.1, apply materials. All right, so So yeah, you can edit the color, transparency, and specularity for blend and foam as well. You also can plug in maps into the highlights or the specularity and control it there as well. So applying the materials, I went over that just now really briefly. Here you go. So I deleted material, and so since the head had that material in there and now has 0 materials, it's going to be a green. That's usually the default color for saying any object has no materials on there. Okay, so what I can do is I can create another Lambert here, Lambert 4, and there's two ways to apply materials to an object. So one, I can middle mouse, click and drag Lambert 4, and click and drag until it's on top of the object there, or hit Z to undo that, or I can select whatever materials I want to apply the material to. Come back over here to Hypershader, right click and hold, and if I move to the top, it says assign material to selection. I'll also assign the material to the head there. Alright, cool. So next page, 241, renaming materials. So I hit that real briefly as well earlier. So I'm going to click on Lambert 4, and to rename it, I can go over here to the attribute menu. At the very top, right next to Lambert, type in my title. We'll call it test underscore MAT. So I usually use underscore MAT for materials. It lets me know that it is a material as opposed to, say, a ramp or placement texture. So if we rename the ramps, we'll call this test underscore R and P for ramp. And placement, call this test underscore PLC for placement. And this keeps everything succinct and organized here. So Brownian noise underscore NSE for noise. So there's lots of types of noises in here. So it gets its own category. Okay, so applying existing materials, same thing as applying new materials. Let's see, so applying materials to selected faces. I don't recommend it, but since it's here in the book, might as well. So, very rare occasions, probably more for testing than anything that will be turned in. You can apply material to just one face. Alright, and it's the same way you apply material to the whole object. Instead, we go into components, right? You select the face or faces you want to apply this material to. Back to a Hypershader. And let's see, let's change this up so we know there's a difference. Select the face, assign material to selection. I'll assign it to just that face. Or again, middle mouse button, click and drag it to your selection here. Then you just have a material on that particular face, so the whole thing. Alright, flipping the page, 242. Let's see. It's not me. Alright, so 242, changing material attributes. Yeah, we went over that. So back in our test material, we have the color. This is our color swatch. This is one way to change colors. If you double click it, you get a more comprehensive view of different colors to change. You can use the ring in this view, spectrum, or you can load an image and then take the eyedropper and pick a color in the image. or a blend setup as well. All right, and then it won't apply the new color until you hit done, or it won't save it until you hit done. When you click it once, automatically updates as soon as you leave it. All right, it's a little quicker. The slider here is just for brightness. Or excuse me, shading, just for shading. So all the way to the left is black. All the way to the right is full color. Right. Keep in mind, it is relative. So if you go all the way to black, right, then all the way back, and it clears out the color. Right. So it's just adding brightness to black, which is white, or removing shading from black, which becomes white. Alright, same thing with transparency. All the way to the right is black, all the way to the left is white, but in transparency terms, it's full opacity. Alright, and then these are the plug-in buttons. So we plug in other nodes and pictures and whatnot. These small little checker boxes there. Cool. All right, next page, 243. All right, moving between nodes. Let's see. It used to be right here. It kind of changed. So if you go ahead and clean this up real quick. So like there's a number of ways to get back to a node that you've plugged in. So say for color, I plugged in a mountain texture. Right, and then if I don't see it here anymore, I can't make any adjustments to the mountain texture. The way to get back to it is either I can click on this node here in my graph editor, which is hopefully named by then. So it's a type of noise, so just mountain. Noise. Alright, I can just click on this node and make all the changes and so forth. Also, another way of getting back to it, if you're in your main node here, go to color, and instead of the checker box there, you have your input icon right here. It just shows there's something plugged into that, and once you click on it, it takes you to that specific node that's plugged into your color there. Alright, cool. Let's see, rendering materials. Oh, yeah, so by default, text materials, lights too, but in this instance, text materials do not show up in the regular view, which is when you hit 5, it's regular view, default view. 4 is wireframes. 6 is to show textures or to preview textures, materials on your object. And then 7 is to preview textures and the lights that you've placed into the scene. We haven't gotten to that, but just in case you run into like an all black scene and you probably hit 7 by mistake. So you're going to get 5 to get back to your modeling, 6 to get back to your preview for materials here. And if it's moving kind of slow and you're trying to animate, then you probably want to hit 4. And that's a lot lighter on your processing power when you're just messing with wireframes instead of shaded objects. But none of these views, they do any like actual changes to your file, right? It's just a previewing setting. Cool, cool. All right. So we got a tutorial in here. All right. Cool, cool. All right. Lily, you have Maya working?
So it's on. I'm opening it like slowly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you where I'm at. It's
Oh, okay.
actually finally working. Where is it? Hold on. Yeah, I'm just sorry. I just now opened my file, so I'm just waiting. So that's what's taking longer right now.
Hmm.
So I finally downloaded it. So it's open. It's just now I gotta wait for it to open my files.
Okay. Well, let's not do that. We want to add on unnecessary work. All right. So for right now, before we break, and then there is a quiz tomorrow. There'll be a quiz on this. So this is 7 point up to 7.5. So 7.1 to 7.5. We have a small quiz on that tomorrow at noon. It's due at 11:59 that evening. But for now, let's go ahead and let's run the tutorial real quick, and let's make a shiny red ball.
Like gold?
Like no, just a shiny red ball, like glossy red ball.
Okay.
Okay, guys, how's it coming?
Eh. You're going eh. That's
Yeah, it's basically 3 steps, guys. So you build a ball, make material, assign material, and just the color, and maybe the specularity.
I mean, I've built the ball, I've added color,
Mm-hmm.
adjusted the translucence.
Translucence.
Yeah, I was trying to make it glow.
Oh, I don't think translucence does that.
I mean, it's doing something.
Well, so translucence is more of like a subsurface scattering thing. It's something you'll see like on leaves or skin or something like that. It's when light passes through a surface or volume. That's what translucence is.
I mean, the ball's glowing.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look, man. What you got?
Okay, I was trying to bring back up the. Okay, hang on. Let me open this because my computer moving slow right now. A window. Oh, definitely not that window. You see, click, share. See, this was what it looked like when it was down.
Okay.
I kept turning it on.
Okay. Yeah, it's like an overall brightness, man. So, no. So for remember what we said about like shininess, like the difference between the materials. Like one material is just diffuse and shading, the other material is highlights, and the other one is more articulated highlights.
Yeah,
So how do we get the highlight on there?
I don't forget how to bring up the material map.
So not there. So the hyper shader.
That's for hyper shader.
Yeah. Or hyper shade.
Alrighty. Okay then.
Okay, so let's find the right material.
Oh, wait, never mind. That's a particle cloud. Stay away from particles.
Yeah.
Ocean noise, simple noise, granite leather. Wait, could it? No, not marble.
Professor Knott.
No, there's only the 3 that we're messing with. There's only 3 materials that we're messing with.
I'm not gonna lie, I was multitasking, so I might have missed one of them.
Multitasking. Okay. All right. Let's see how Lily's doing first. Lily, how far is it coming?
I'm trying to tell you that it took a while because I was trying to open files, so I had to shut down Maya, so I had to like open it and just make the sphere. So whatever was going on with that file time, I had to probably delete that.
Okay.
So
You're starting in a new file?
no, I didn't even start a file yet, but I just kind of like opened it. But I'll show you what I did. But I didn't start the color yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have the sphere. All right. And then you have the material on there, or the shader.
No, I didn't get there yet. It took a while to open the the program, so that's why I only managed to get the sphere.
Okay.
I was gonna ask you, where is it?
Yeah. Where is the hypershade?
The hyper shape
Shade. Hypershade.
shading right here.
No, not quite. Okay. All right, guys. Let's see. Let's go over this real quick, and then we'll call it a day. All right. Okay. So when we're messing with colors and textures and all that fun stuff, we want to work with the hypershade or hypershader. All right, and it's up here in the movie clapper area, right? So it's this teal ball. You click this, that's how we get to the hypershade. Okay, there's only 3 materials we're working with, right? And that's Lambert, Blend, and Fog. It's right in here in this create section, this create bar. Lambert, Blend, and Fog. Okay, so Lambert, it's just the base material. Alright. Just taking a look at the preview here. It's not going to give us what we want, which is a highlight for our ball. So that means we either have to choose blend or Fong. So Fong, PHONG. Okay, one of these two. Use a Fong. I'll apply it there to the ball here by middle mouse clicking and drag. Alright, and then with this Fong, I'll rename it red and shiny underscore or space MAT. Alright, and then I can adjust the color right here. Alright, and that gives me my red shiny ball, like in the tutorial. Alright, and then I can start playing with specular shading here to get like a stronger highlight.
Is it Fong E or Fong?
Just regular Fong.
Okay.
Oh, that's figure 7.5. This is just 7.1. Okay. Whatever 7 is pretty much.
After labeling and everything, do I just press enter or something? I got a label and I got the color.
It should be automatic, and then once you render it by hitting this the empty movie clapper up top here, it should render out a red ball. Well, if it says Arnold, kind of in the middle here in the Dropbox menu, let's go ahead and switch that to Maya Software, and then hit the empty movie clapper to render it out. Okay, we need the graph editor coming out next. Okay. Okay, so we all have the shiny red spheres here.
No, I exited.
Nope.
I had it and I lost it.
Let's see, I have everything in the hyper shader. The Fong, the blend.
We just need one of those.
Oh, you just need one. You don't need both.
Alright, just one. You just need either the blend or the Fong applied to the sphere.
I I'm looking for what you're talking about. I think I missed it.
Are you looking for the materials?
No, I got the hyper
The
shade.
phone, since it seems to have more things going for it.
I went to Fong and then I renamed it to Shiny Ball and I changed the color to red. But I don't know where to go after that.
Oh, then apply it to your sphere. Apply the material to the object there.
Apply it. Click it. You mean like click the one I did?
No, either so middle mouse click and drag the material to the object, or select your object and then right click over the material, and then at the top it should say assign material to selection, and select that.
Okay. And press X so I can see it and check.
X? No X. Render it out. So the movie clapper, the empty movie clapper up top here.
Okay. Render. It's loading.
Okay, we have a render yet?
I see a black screen.
Oh, okay. So the Dropbox right there in that render view panel or render view window. Make sure the Dropbox in the middle there says Maya Software instead of Arnold Render.
Okay.
Select, right click.
My 2020. Okay. Still see a black screen.
Okay. Let me see. Let me take a look.
Okay.
Okay, Maya Software. Alright. Did you hit the movie clapper again?
Movie clapper. Okay, I'll do it again.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. Alright, there's already a movie clapper in that window. It does the same thing. Okay, let's see what happens. Hit the movie clapper there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Houston, we have a problem.
Okay. Alright, it still doesn't look like the materials applied to the object.
Did I miss something?
Alright, let's exit out of that. Okay, and then let's take a look at the ball in the tumble view there.
The one we're creating, or you want to see what I
the object
did?
Yeah.
Object. Okay.
Okay. Let's hit 6.
6.
Yeah, number 6. Alright, so it's probably not applied yet. So let's apply the material to that object.
Like right now.
Oh, snap. Nope, nope. Bad, go back.
Okay, click 6.
Well, let's apply the material to the object. So 6 is showing us that we don't have any textures on there.
Guess not. Go to this, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. I guess I'll do it all over again.
Wait, no, and then just apply the shiny ball material to the object.
Okay. Did it work?
Well, let's go back to the tumble view. Take a look. No, not the renderer, the tumble view.
Tumble view.
You know, the view where we tumble around the object.
I don't know where it is.
The tumble view. So that's where we make the ball. So it's right behind the hyper shader there. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's still gray. So let's try to select it. Yeah. Okay. So we can select it, and then let's do what you did before. We did apply material to selection.
Okay.
And we only need one, so let's go ahead and delete that extra sphere there.
Okay. Do I?
Okay, so what we did before so we select the sphere, and then we right click on top of the material.
Up the material.
In the hypershader. It's selected, so let's right click on top of the material in the hypershader.
Okay. Do I go back to this?
Right, the hypershader. Alright, let's go back to the tumble view. Alright, let's try the other way. Let's click and drag the material on top of the object there. So the middle mouse button, click and drag. Nope, middle mouse button. So, I mean, the button. Do you know the scrolling wheel, right? It has a button.
Yeah.
When you press it, you know, it's the middle mouse button. Let's use that button to click and drag the material from the hypershader to the object in the tumble view. There we go. There it is. Okay, and it's applied. And then you can hit render.
Render.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. There it is. Okay. Red shiny ball. You got it.
Okay.
All right. So, Drake, how's it coming, man?
I already got it.
Okay, let's take a look, man.
Okay. It's not red enough or shiny enough for me though.
All right. Let me put translucence again on it. Okay. It's rendered out. Yeah, it's applied. Okay. Yeah, that'll work, man. That's it. So, I mean, to make it shinier, I mean, you would mess with the highlight more. Shininess is a matter of like contrast, right? So you want those deep shadows and the bright highlights. And then later on, you get into lighting where you get multiple highlights and that kind of stuff on there. But that'll be later on. Okay, guys. All right. So tomorrow noon, it's going to be a quiz on the what we did just now, and then some of the keywords that we went over in 7.1. 7.1 chapter 7, applying materials. All right, just a 5-question quiz. We do 11:59 that evening. All right.
All right.
All right. Cool. All right. Good work, y'all, and I'll see y'all Tuesday.
All right. See you Tuesday.
So chapter 1 and chapter 2?
No, 7.1.
7.1 and 7.2.
No, just 7.1.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you later.
All right. Take care.